Almost 80% of the coins launched during the 2021 crypto bull run had a single common thing: staking. Because of this boom, many centralized and decentralized staking platforms started popping up. But which one is really going to make you the big bucks? Centralized or decentralized? I'm Brett at CryptoGX, and in this video, I'm going to talk about centralized and decentralized staking. I'll compare them side by side, and I'll pick a winner. By the end of the video, I'll also show you a tool to spot the best staking opportunities. So let's start off with what is staking? Well, in simple terms, staking really means that you earn rewards for holding your crypto in a certain place and in a certain way. When you stake your coins, they join the transaction validation system, which is very similar to mining, and you receive a reward for every block that you help secure. So in the traditional mining sense, you are providing hardware and computational power to run the blockchain system. And then on the staking system, you are locking up your coins, which are a different form of proof of work is the other one. Proof of stake is this one. And so the number of coins that you have on the system are helping process these transactions, and you get a reward for every block that your particular amount of coins are securing. If you want to earn rewards, you have to meet a minimum requirement. Depending on the blockchain, it can be different. So for example, on Ethereum, it requires 32 Ethereum tokens to become a network validator. Now let's get into network validators. What does that mean? Well, proof of stake blockchains use network validators to validate transactions. Basically, it lets the network pick one validator to propose each block, which a block is a grouping of transactions that they're processing, while the rest are double checking the validity of that block. So if the transaction is valid, the selected validator is then rewarded. And then if the transaction was not valid, another validator is fined through a cut on their staked amount. Now, to guarantee that all of these processes are honest and true, each validator must lock their coins as collateral. Now, the locking up of your coins is really what staking is. So staking consists of three main steps. Number one, you lock your tokens as collateral. Number two, you as a validator are helping confirm transactions. And number three, you then collect rewards for confirming those transactions. Now, centralized and decentralized staking both work in the same way. However, their implementation is a bit different. So let's explore the differences. So centralized staking is the easiest way to start. Websites like Coinbase or Crypto.com handle pretty much everything for you. So if you decide to use one of these particular platforms, you give them your cryptocurrency. Then they stake it for you, which obviously, as we talked about, means they lock your crypto up to help it run the network. And you earn crypto as rewards. You don't need any special skills or equipment. You can start with as little as $10, which makes it really good for beginners or people that have a smaller portfolio to start with. In 2025, Coinbase will give you 4.5% on Ethereum, whereas Binance will give you 5.2% on Cardano, which both of those sound pretty good, right? Now, on the other hand, there is a downside. These websites will typically charge fees, usually around 1% to 2%. For example, if you stake $3,000 worth of Ethereum, you're going to earn $135 per year, but $27 of that will go to fees, leaving you with $108. Now, outside of fees, there's also risks. Things like hackers. They could steal your crypto from these websites. Now, outside of fees, there's also risks. Hackers could steal your crypto from these websites. It's pretty rare, but it has happened before, as you can see from this article on Trust Wallet about this Mt. Gox attack where they stole a bunch of crypto. In general, the main risk here is that it's better to have your own keys, own your own coins, and use a decentralized exchange so that you're not too worried about hackers in particular, but we'll get into decentralized exchanges in a second. When it comes to risk of hackers, Coinbase, Crypto.com, those are pretty darn safe. They're huge. They spend millions of dollars a year on security and things like that. But if you're going to hold crypto for a long, long time, probably not the best place to store your funds. Before you do that though, just make sure to go to each website and check the fees. There are pretty extensive websites like this on Binance that have a crazy different fee schedule for different things that they have going on. Now let's take a look at decentralized staking. So decentralized staking really puts you in charge, in the driver's seat of what's going on when you're staking. You can run a node, which is a special computer that helps the network. This is the device that's actually running the checks and things like that. Or you can join a staking pool, which, you can use something like Rocket Pool. This way you can stake directly on the blockchain. It's a bit harder because you could do the, needing your own computer bit. The pool groups are helpful where you don't necessarily need to do that all yourself, but you could still be, decentralized through the staking pools. Now, if you're going to run your own node. Let's say, for instance, you're going to do Ethereum. You need at least 32 Ethereum, which costs roughly somewhere around $100,000 today. These are those minimum requirements that change depending on the blockchain that you're going to be staking on. Now, that's just for Ethereum, but the upside is when you meet this particular minimum requirement, the upside is that the rewards are much higher, around 5 to 7% per year. Now, outside of that, there are challenges. Setting your own node up needs kind of special skills, or at least you need to research things a little bit. And then you can make mistakes. You could lose 1 to 5% of your crypto. Now, there are challenges. Setting up your node takes specialized skills. You can look this all up, YouTube University. You're already here learning, so that's really good. You got to be careful with your crypto just so you don't necessarily lose any of it, put it in the wrong place, send the wrong transaction. But in general, you need a good internet connection to power your node and to keep it online all the time. Now, if you don't want to run a whole node taking 32 Ethereum, and instead you want to stake, let's say you have 1 Ethereum in a group staking pool, you might still be able to earn, let's say, based on that math, $180 per year with just $9 in fees, because groups like right here on Lido or Lido, however you want to say this, they charge low fees of about 0.5 to 1%. Now, in 2025, decentralized pools make it a lot easier by letting you stake smaller amounts, even small amounts like 0.1 ETH or even less. Decentralized staking gives you better rewards than centralized staking options and lower fees, but it just needs more of your time and money depending on the service that you're picking. They have different minimum requirements and things like that, and you need to really research and understand how these pools work. So if you have time, you have good internet, and you have enough funds, probably not a lot as running your own node. If that's the case, decentralized staking can work really well. Now let's compare profits, risks, and costs to see which option's best for you. So let's compare these options with some kind of up-to-date numbers. Centralized platforms are known for ease. As I mentioned before, Coinbase gives 4.5% APY on Ethereum, but that has 1 to 2% that goes straight into fees. Now, if you were staking, let's say $30,000 worth of Ethereum, this would give you $1,350 yearly minus $270 to $540 in fees, leaving you with somewhere around $800 to $1,000 in staking earnings. Now, Binance, as you can see, offers somewhere between 4.43% to 0.01% on ADA if you are locking this. My estimates were more so around 5.2% on ADA with 0.5 to 1% fees. So let's say you did $30 worth of Cardano. This earns $1.56 per year minus 8 cents to 16 cents, giving you $1.40 to $1.48. The equivalent for that 30,000 Ethereum, doing 30,000 in Cardano, would be 800 to 1,000 for that Coinbase Ethereum versus 1,400 to 1,500 on Binance with Cardano. Kraken offers anywhere between 4% to 15% on Polkadot with 1% fees. So if you did the same $30,000 investment, that'd be $4,500 in staking rewards, minus the fees would be about $4,450, something like that. So way more than those other options, but it just depends which blockchain you want to use. And all of this really just says that decentralized platforms reward effort in your research and understanding where you're going to put your money. So the risks are different for both different types of staking. Centralized platforms can encounter some hack risks occasionally. Coinbase is pretty safe. Crypto.com is pretty safe. All the majors are safe because they spend so much money in spending on security, millions of dollars. Decentralized staking risks, on the other hand, are losses or downtime costing you 1 to 5% of your stake if the nodes fail. Sometimes these nodes, if you're doing it on a pool or even your own node, isn't going to be up 100% of the time. So the loss is kind of going to be the opportunity cost of that node going down for a short period of time and not getting the rewards during that time that it is down. And then also, if you go down, if you fail, there are fines that you have to pay for failing to mark your presence as a validator depending on the network that you're running it on. So now that we've kind of gone through the pluses and minuses of each kind, let's find the best option for you. I promised a tool, and here is a very simple calculator. Let's pull it up. So we'll open up stakingrewards.com/calculator, and on here you can input the asset that you want to stake, and then it'll give you an average reward rate, maybe even the maximum reward rate available on that particular network. So let's say Ethereum, then you can enter your staking amount. Let's say $1,000. Now you can put it in Ethereum as well. You can specify, let's say 0.5 Ethereum if that's what you have. And now we're going to move over to the provider. This is where you can see the estimated reward rate. rate and the different kinds of staking options that you have right here as well. So, you can go from native staking, here's 3.4. You can go to lending, that's very low. Validator as a service, and they're not in any particular order. It's not like the highest to lowest rate or anything like that. And then you go to smart contract, and then you have all these different options here as well. So if you have a particular provider that you would like to go through or platform that you would like to use, let's say, look, Coinbase 2.97, there we go. There are centralized and decentralized options in here, as you can see, and then it'll give you your 1 day, 7 day, 30 day, and 365 day earnings. You can switch that to US dollars. So you can pick your provider here. There are decentralized and centralized options, and then you can see the amount that you're going to get based on that provider's APR, which if you put in half of an Ethereum, you're going to get $54 worth of earnings per year if the price of Ethereum stays the same. And then it'll also show you the compounded or non-compounded earnings, meaning if you earn every day, it'll put that into your balance, increasing your balance, compounding it into even more. So for example, you can really see the difference if you put in $100,000. The compounded version is going to give you $3,012, and then the non-compounded version will give you $2,968. You can also visualize your return by choosing the time you want to stake for, and then the expected price of that asset after the time you have chosen. This calculator can also help you compare the latest APY of all coins on different platforms. So I've made a little table here, as you can see, with the kind of top platforms: Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, Crypto.com, OKX, and Bybit. You can see some are beginner friendly, best overall, best for beginners, best for Ethereum staking, best for Archon staking. A lot of the different things that are important when it comes to staking on these platforms, whether this was one click, whether it's regulated in the US. As I noticed earlier, Coinbase is not allowed in California where I live, but other states it is allowed. Things like Crypto.com, if you hold their CRO holdings, you can get lower and lower fees. Crypto.com, as you can see, is up to 5%, and there's flexible options here. So now you've got a great tool to estimate your rewards when it comes to staking on different platforms. But how are you going to maximize your gains? So first off, start small on Coinbase with $100. You're going to earn $450 yearly, roughly, minus fees. You don't need to wait for a whole year, but do this for experience. For decentralized staking, join something like Lido with 0.1 Ethereum or less. You earn $18 yearly on that $300 worth of Ethereum. Then you're going to build confidence in your decentralized staking abilities over time. Now, if you want to find the best APY, check out stakingrewards.com. You can see the different providers. This one's specifically for Ethereum, and it'll show you their reward rates and things like that. And that's how you can really maximize what your rates are. Like I said before, you're going to want to start small and figure out how to do the staking and build confidence in it first. So when you're doing this, looking for the highest rate and the highest return, typically you're going to want to lock your funds for a longer period of time and try to compound. You get higher rates when you lock in for longer, but you obviously run the risk of price changes over that time. So you're going to want to make sure that the market is bullish. Otherwise, the staked coins are going to lose their value, and you will end up losing despite earning the number of, let's say, Ethereum. You're going to lose potentially in the dollar value over time. Check the fees schedule on the right and kind of what the difference is going to be based on platforms. Use that in the calculator and just be safe out there. With all of this information, I'm confident that you will be far ahead of the large majority of most people when it comes to staking. And if you're ready to stake on a centralized platform, I put links in the description for Coinbase and Crypto.com, where you'll get at least $50 in crypto just for signing up with those links. And if you want to get into meme coins, I also left a link to MoonShot where you can claim some free meme coins when you sign up. If you learned something new or just enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button and hit subscribe if you want to stay tuned for all things crypto. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.